Hey everybody! Today we're going to do a quick little fun thing using framelits and a stamp set, and I know you're going to like it. The stamp set I've chosen to use is Tap Tap Tap. It's a fun little stamp set with a typewriter and some words typed, and I think it's really cute for someone like me who's in technology. I haven't seen a typewriter since, I don't know, 1978 or something, but it's fun to use it again in a card. So it has these letters, which I love, which I think would make a great border on my card, but I don't want it to go all the way across. So I've kind of used my Stamp-A-Majig even before this video to figure out how many letters fit on the left side and on the right side of the typewriter. And then I'm just using a marker to color them. Now, I will say in this particular video, I'm using a distress marker. And here's the only reason: it was close, it was handy. The distress marker will give you a more distressed look, which means that, the images won't be as solid as if you use like a VersaFine ink or even a Stampin' Up ink. So check out, the different inks. I like this distressed look on this old typewriter just because, this is an old thing. So there's three little letters on the right side. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe and I'm going to wipe off one side. Once I have that side nice and wiped off and clean, now I'm going to do the letters on the other side. And I figured out that A, B, C, D, and N-O-P fit. So again, I'm just coloring the letters that I know fit. And I figured this out again by using my Stamp-A-Majig with the whole stamp stamped and kind of looking at where the typewriter would fit. And I'm going to show you an alternative way to do this if this is not easy enough for you. But I found this to be really easy. So now that I've colored just those letters, I'm going to put them on the other side. It's important to clean your stamp before you do, either side, because otherwise you'll have shadows of the other letters. So I'm just going to stamp that down on the other side of, but staying on the right side of the score line. And I'm using, by the way, I'm using the craft note cards that come pre-scored with envelopes, which makes this even faster. So this is really like a 2 to 3 minute card. Once you get used to doing it, you can make a set really quick. And you can see what I meant by this is distressed marker. It looks pretty distressed. It looks kind of aged. And I think I like that. I will show you pictures at the end with a different ink that looks more solid in case you prefer a crisp look. I'm going to use the same marker. Now, of course, I could definitely pick up a pad, an ink pad, and stamp this normally using an ink pad. Or I could even use the marker and use like different colors on the top than the bottom to give the typewriter a little bit of variance. But distressed inks tend to give variance naturally. And again, that's why I'm using the marker. If you use a pad, again, you're going to have a crisper, more consistent look to your stamped image. Now, I'm going to use the Stamp-A-Majig to figure out where this fits. So I'm stamping it first on a piece of plastic. And yes, I did lose my Stamp-A-Majig plastic, so I just used any old piece of plastic. And because I had to stamp it down on the Stamp-A-Majig plastic, I have to re-ink it. And again, I'm using the distress marker to do that. But you can use any marker or any ink pad. If you use an ink pad, this will be a lot faster. Not that we need it to be faster because it's already fast. And then I'm going to take that image and using the Stamp-A-Majig plastic, I'm going to be able to position it between the letters. And I think now you can see why I was saying 3 letters fit on the right and 7 fit on the left. Another thing you could do is you could mask the image. So you could stamp it and then mask it and then stamp all the way across. But it really wasn't perfect enough for me. I mean, like one side was, I couldn't see all the letters, and that's why I decided to do it this way rather than to use masking. But you should try it and see which way you like better. So you see how the distressed ink gives a lot of variance. Some areas of the typewriter are dark and some are light. That's why I'm using it. But again, If you want a crisper look, use an ink pad, use Stampin' Up! Ink, or use VersaFine, which is even more attention to detail. I'm going to stamp high right on the piece of paper, kind of pretend like I typed it. And then you could leave it like this if you want to, but I thought it'd be fun to make this typewriter talk. And you know, what would a typewriter say? A typewriter would say tap, 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 tap. And so I stamped out tap, 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 tap on a piece of paper, and I used my word Bubbles Framelits. I found the tall one worked perfectly, and so I could use it on my Big Shot to cut out the tap, 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 and that way my typewriter could talk. So I'm going to run this through the Big Shot so that we can get the tap, tap, tap. And I'm just going to put a little tape at the top so it doesn't move, because I do want the tap, tap, tap right to fit right into the bubble. I prefer to stamp first and then cut, but some people like to cut first and then stamp. They find it's easier to get the stamp in the center of the bubble. So whichever works well for you is what you should do. And voila, there's my cutout tap, 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 tap. And I'm going to put some stamping dimensionals on the back of this. If there's too much contrast for you, feel free to sponge the edges, but I really love that contrast. And so I'm not sponging on purpose. And I'm going to line that up so that it looks like the typewriter is talking, and that's all a typewriter would normally say. Now on the inside of my card, I'm going to type out thinking of you with another one of the stamps from the same stamp set. It's a really cool stamp set. You can do this in a couple of ways, and I'll show you two different variations in the images, but you could put the thanking of you on the front and the tap, 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 tap on the inside because it's bigger. Either way it would work, and it gives you enough space to write your little message on the inside. I don't normally go for cutesy cards, but I think this one is just adorable and just takes me back to the past, which I like to do every now and then. You can do it either way. You can do what I did today and mount the tap, tap, tap on the front with the word bubble. And here's with a different ink. And then notice that in this case, in the second card, I actually mounted the typewriter on stamping dimensionals and put the thinking of you typed on the paper. And then I stamped off the tap, 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 tap to make it whisper. So thank you and have fun.